Hi guys. Well, I just finished watching the 6th season of the Australian version of The Mole, and now here's my thoughts. I'll try and keep it spoiler free like my other Mole review videos, but for this one I'd actually recommend that you see the season just to be on the safe side. But I'll tell you right now, my ultimate reaction is this isn't too good of a season of The Mole, but as a reality season, it was pretty good. Okay? So I don't recommend that you think of this as another season of The Mole. I think you should just take it on its own right, okay? Why do I say that? Well, if you're going to compare it to other seasons of The Mole, you're going to find that the contestants are incompetent, like the people in season 4 of this version. And then you're going to find that there's a lot of unnecessary changes, such as going longer between eliminations, how the pot can keep getting deducted, the new format for exemptions, and then the inclusion of freebies which correct an incorrect answer on a specific quiz, and then increasing the number of quiz answers again because you know how it went from 20 to 10 to 6 to 5. Well, now it's back to 20. I don't think that's a spoiler. And it's just stuff like that, okay? So, while the show did start off slow, ultimately, I think that, making the, elimination points more spaced out did allow us to get more identifiableness with the cast and feel like a lot more people were just major people, because, sure, a couple of the early people were highlighted during their episodes. The fact that we had that number of episodes with them, it helped to make us feel that we lost something with almost every single contestant. And then, like, the final 7 and 6, I felt like everybody there was major with the exception of possibly one person, but then we got into thinking that person could possibly be the mole, so it helped. And I do like how the editing kind of threw us a little bit of a loop in retrospect, highlighting certain people as the mole and not thinking that other people were the mole, because for the final 6 people, I'll tell you this right now, there were 3 people that were getting a lot of time to be the mole, and no, not a lot of time to be the mole, but they were talked about a lot as if they were the mole. Turns out none of them were the mole, and one of the 2 people that never really got talked about as being the mole ended up being the mole. You'll forget that I said this, so that's not a spoiler, okay? So I like how it threw us through a bit of a loop. Although I was able to detect one of the final 3 as not being the mole, and I ended up being correct on that assumption. What else can I mention? I like the challenges that they had here. It seemed to be fairly tough, like with season 5, and that it was, just having to really push all of these people, because, like, I can tell that a lot of these challenges would be fun and daring, but at the same time, it would take a big toll on them, because I'll tell you right now, the first 4 seasons, they didn't really have the greatest, huge physical challenges. A couple of them were present, but I never really got the idea that the game was totally stressful on you, like the American version of Survivor. That game seemed to be stressful. The first 4 seasons of the Australian Mole didn't seem stressful. Season 5 in this season of the Australian Mole felt stressful. So that was good. All the new changes, while they were unnecessary, it did mix up the format, and if you're going to bring back a show like this after being away that long, I do think you do have to change it just to see how people react, because, like, I think the reason why the 5th season of the US version didn't really catch on was because really, ultimately, it was the same, just a lower cash prize pool, a new way of getting rid of the extra player, and less challenging brain teasers, and a mole that was way too obvious. But here there were challenging brain teasers, a lot of stressfulness involving teamwork, very creative challenges that I never would have been able to think of on my own and stuff like that. And a mole that, honestly, I didn't even consider until pretty far in the game. Yeah. So what did I think of the contestants? Well, they did have their incompetent moments. I liked the time that we had with them. I liked that a couple of arrogant people left originally, and even though these contestants had various fights with each other, it did seem like that they were able to establish bonds with each other. But it's kind of sad that the way the show advanced, it didn't really focus on these friendships because, well, it seems like that there were a good amount of friendships there because, for instance, two of the guys towards the end, they seemed to have a bit of a friendship. That it seemed like all members of the final three had some kind of two-person combination within each other, and the eventual winner and runner-up, it seemed like they had had a good friendship going on for at least half the game that's alluded to in just a couple of sayings, but it isn't explored, which is sad, because yes, the show isn't about relationships between the contestants outside of the challenges and the environment, but it helps with the identifiableness of the cast. It makes us feel for them. So it's just disappointing that they didn't really focus too much on that. It's kind of sad because then we have even more incompetent moments. Even though even the people that behaved incompetently at other moments, they were pretty good, and it seemed like, especially for the top 7, everyone was sorry to see everyone go to some degree. So I just want to share that. Okay, so opinion on the top 3. Like I mentioned, I was able to figure out that one of the 3 people wasn't the mole, and I ended up being correct on that. That person ended up winning. As for the mole, I hadn't really thought of this person as possibly being the mole until the end, and I had begun to think that I didn't want this person to win. And once that person was unmasked as the mole, I go, actually, you know what? That really suits this person. It gives them a bit of a purpose in this game and a good conclusion, because the other ways it just wouldn't feel like a good conclusion, honestly, but this route, yeah, pretty good. And how did I feel about the runner-up? Well, I recognized that this person was a major character throughout the entire season, and this was the person I actually thought was the mole for a while, and I'm a little bit bummed for this person, but given the fact that this person and the winner had a good friendship, and I actually did want one of those two to win, I'm reasonably happy, although like I said, I would have liked the friendship part of the aspect between them to be explored, because otherwise they're going to have a similar situation to the mole the next betrayal, and as most of you guys know, I'm not a fan of that season, but I don't know why, really. Just, yeah. So, that went a little bit long, but I hope you enjoyed this video. So, like I said, in retrospect, not the greatest season of the mole, but as a reality season, I really liked it. And even though this won't ever get a DVD release, would I buy it if there was? Probably, yeah. Do I think there's going to be any more seasons on the mole? I don't think so, because based on what a couple of ratings charts have showed me, it just didn't seem like there was a good enough interest. That's the sad part about the mole, though, because it attracts a very good, loyal group of fans, because I've enjoyed the vast majority of the 13 seasons of the mole that I have encountered, but it just hasn't latched on to the ratings enough, and that's kind of sad. Because it's a far more realistic and engaging reality show than a couple of the other ones out there, because, okay, I've stated repeatedly that Survivor, the American version, is my favorite reality show, but that is actually not the show or franchise that I would recommend the most. If I had to recommend a reality show, Survivor would be way down the list. This, or the American version of The Amazing Race, would be my most recommended show. I just group all the English-speaking seasons of the mole into one basket. Alright guys, see you next time.